Yes, it's April again. Every year in April, the rainy season starts. And every year, every day in April, a haunting emptiness descends over our hearts. Every year in April, I remember how quickly life passes. Every year, I remember how lucky I should feel to be alive. Every year in April, I remember.
During those 100 days, thousands of Tutsis fled to the southwest. They had heard of a mayor who was hiding people in what was being built as a new school. The secret didn't last long, and when word got out, the Interahamwe came in large numbers. 25,000 people were buried here in mass graves, and my guide's family was among them. His voice broke as he explained how his mother, brother, and aunts were killed, and then he fled to Congo. Now, these buildings act as a reminder, so that no one can deny what happened. Every room contained the same thing. When the victims were buried, they were covered in lime to prevent the stench. That lime preserved and bleached those bodies into a ghostly white. No one could deny the brutality that these people experienced, and their final expressions told of that horror. There were a few places that remained a safe refuge, like this church in central Kigali. It was guarded by a few UN soldiers at their own risk. Unfortunately, not all churches promise safety. The pastor of this church in Ntarama, about 30 miles from Kigali, promised security, but it was in fact a ploy to round up the Tutsis so that they could be slaughtered more efficiently. The church has actually been cleaned up a little, but bones of the 5,000 people killed here still lie unceremoniously around the floor. The holes in the wall are where the militiamen broke through to finish the job more quickly. I met this boy when I arrived in a town down the road. His name is Thierry, and when I told him why I was here, he asked to accompany me. He told me how his whole family had been killed in this church. He was orphaned at the age of 5, left to survive on his own on the street. Nearby, in Nyamata, there is another church, where the pastor betrayed his congregation. This one has been cleaned up, but you can still see the evidence, like holes in the roof from the fragment grenades used. Underneath the church, a cavern has been dug, in which lies a few remains of the 7,000 who died here. Below is a coffin reserved for one woman. Thierry explained.
It's a woman. It's a woman. Many people, many men comes to sex with her, and after to finish sex, I is violent. After to violent, the kid in bad situation.
I was later told how she died. She deserves her own special place. One thing is for sure here, life goes on. As a tourist, it's hard to believe that just 12 years ago, this beautiful land was the scene of such events. The country is incredibly safe, and the people seem to get on so well with each other, you are left wondering how they do it. This is Lake Kivu, in the west of the country. When the Hutu refugees started to pour out of the country, the majority fled across this western border into Congo. Of course, tens of thousands more died on top of the 1 million due to the conditions in the refugee camps.
Could this become circular, that road, you think?
This church in Kabuye is the fourth of the Big Five, and it seems to mix that sense of remembrance with the hope of moving forward. The new, beautiful, stained glass windows cast a warm glow over the refurbished interior, and the church has returned to being an active place of worship, as well as a memorial. The congregation's singing can be heard echoing around the inlets of Lake Kivu, bringing the surrounding hills to life. The last memorial is Gisozi, in the capital Kigali. It is modelled after the Holocaust Memorial, and it is more like a museum than the others. It is filled with information about the lead-up to and the events themselves, but is still wrought with emotion.